I have made it clear I will not testify against the president because I would have to bear false witness against him.
If you were convicted, you think the president would pardon you?
The only person I've advocated a pardon for is Marcus Garvey.
Well, that's former Trump campaign advisor Roger Stone being feisty as ever, slamming the Mueller investigation in the process, saying he will not testify against the president. This after he was arrested yesterday on his 7-count indictment for the Mueller probe. But one key passage in that indictment has intrigued a lot of people and sparked a flurry of speculation across the country. It states, quote, after the July 22nd, 2016 release of stolen DNC emails by Organization 1, Wikileaks, a senior Trump campaign official was directed to contact Stone about any additional releases and what other damaging information Organization 1 had regarding the Clinton campaign. So what does that mean? Our legal panel is here. David Bruno, criminal defense attorney and trial attorney, and former prosecutor and trial attorney. Also with us, Mercedes Colwin, who's a legal analyst, too. So you got this intriguing line, Mercedes, about a senior campaign official being directed to contact Stone. Why would the prosecutors put that in without naming the person?
It's a warning cry. It's a warning shot. If you do suspect, you're looking at whoever's in the know knows who these individuals are. We're not in the know. We sort of suspect, we're reading tea leaves. But who's ever in the know, the prosecutor is sending, Mueller's sending a warning shot. You know who you are. We know who you are, but we're not going to identify you at this moment. We're still gathering information. We're still getting incriminating evidence against you. But if I were the defense attorney involved in this, I would say, they may be referring to us. Let's strike a deal. So let's go in there before they come to us and really circle the wagons, because by then we can't strike the best deal.
David, don't lawyers talk about that behind the scenes as they negotiate? Or
yeah, but here you go. The timing of that is important because that line comes after the July 22nd, 2016 actual leak. And that was the first one. Every network outlet in America was looking for that information at that time. And the fact that that's named, I do not believe that's Donald Trump, because Donald Trump already had regular contact with Roger Stone at the time. Why would he have to ask someone else to reach out to Roger Stone? The other point to make is that is not illegal conduct. They are not alleging that any of his communications with person 2, which we believe is Randy Kretko, or person 1, which is Dr. Corsi, is illegal communications. What has been charged is that he lied to Congress, that he obstructed justice when Mr. Kretko was lining up his testimony, and that he also tampered with evidence.
Yeah, that's the famous Godfather 2 type of scene. But, you know, last night on Tucker Carlson's show, Tucker asked Roger Stone specifically about this, and here's what Mr. Stone said.
Have you spoken to the president about this?
I have not. But again, if you watch CNN or MSNBC, you wouldn't know that, because they act as if Stone acted as the conduit between the Trump campaign and WikiLeaks, or between Donald Trump and WikiLeaks. When the president answered the written interrogatories, he correctly and honestly said, Roger Stone and I never discussed this. And we never did.
Well, there's the denial right there.
There's denial right there. So it's interesting. I mean, we don't know specifically what those answers are in the interrogatories, but those interrogatories, the answers that the President Trump had a few months ago now at this point, they're going to be comparing whatever President Trump wrote in those questions, in response to those questions, to everybody that comes forward in his inner circle, in the external circle, every individual that they start to bring in. And they start to circle the wagons like they have with Stone. They're going to start comparing whatever Stone says. And it's pretty extraordinary that he's going out and making these affirmative statements, because whatever he says can be used against him in the court of law. So if it goes to the full distance, there isn't a deal struck, he goes forward with the trial, any of these statements that he's made publicly, Stone's made publicly, can come back to haunt him in the court of law.
David, how does he know exactly what the president said? I mean, has that been completely made public? Do we know?
Good question, but let's just look here. The special counsel chose to hold off charging this individual and searching his home until after the president gave those statements and those answers.
Oh, what does that mean?
What does it mean? Because President Trump may not have known about what special counsel has in communications between him and Roger Stone.
And they went in like he's John Gotti Jr.
Oh my
I
goodness.
mean, John Gotti Jr. always said he knew they were coming, and it's the same 6 o'clock in the morning knock on the door.
This is what we were talking about before the start of it. I mean, that just tells you that Mueller thinks you're still manipulating evidence. We believe that you still are doing Stone meaning.
Did they have to do that as opposed to just call the attorneys and say, come in?
They can call the attorneys. I mean, there have been negotiations like that where you can call the defense attorney and say, we'd like your client to come in. You come in. But doing this in the middle of the night, they obviously think that he's still capable of obstructing justice, destroying evidence. They're going to go in and seize everything. And they have. I'm sure they've seized his computers. I'm sure they've seized his phones.
He's known this is going to happen for months now. He's been saying, I'm going to get pinched.
But is he not? He's probably, I'm sure, represented by counsel. The fact that they did not have this negotiated
But listen,
they wanted to go in. Was it showboating and overkill, or was it appropriate?
No, I think it was appropriate. As a former prosecutor myself, I mean, safety is paramount for law enforcement. And they wanted to get phones, I'm sure. They wanted to get the computers that are in the house. They didn't want to give a heads up. There's been an allegation of obstruction of justice before. And safety is important there. They didn't do it as a no-knock. They didn't do any explosives. They didn't need anything further in the warrant. They got a warrant, and they executed it.
And a judge had to sign off on that?
Yeah. They established probable cause that evidence would be in that home.
All right.
There was definitely a hearing.
All right, a judge signed off on that. And meanwhile, finally, Roger Stone has been professing his innocence, saying all you have to do is listen to whatever he said and talked about, has shown that he's full and open and on his website. And here's part of what he said about that.
If anybody had bothered to read my my website, The Stone Cold Truth, they would know that I've basically refuted and documented the refutation of virtually every charge in this indictment. The indictment is thin indeed. So what is this about? It's about silencing me.
Do you think that's what this is about?
We don't know at this point, honestly, Eric. I mean, this investigation is taking a long time. There's lots of evidence. There's mountains of evidence. There's mountains of witnesses that have come through those doors, so we don't really know. But it's certainly pretty extraordinary for him to take such an affirmative step, like I stated before. I'm sure his attorneys are saying, you're taking a risk by doing this, but he's obviously ready for a fight, because someone who wants to strike a deal would not take such an aggressive step against Mueller if that's what they wanted. So ultimately, we're going to see
that's his message. I'm never going to strike a deal.
Exactly.
That's his message.
That's his message to Mueller.
And David, when he said it, he has exculpatory information, texts that he forgot about. You're shaking your head.
Can't imagine it, okay? Because all of the texts that are put into the indictment are clear that he lied to Congress. He said, I didn't have any text message or any emails involving Wikileaks. We know that to be untrue based on text messaging. So he's made these definitive declarations of innocence before, and he's done it in front of Congress. And as a result of it, he has 5 charges for false swearing in this indictment because of it.
It's so
Documents,
easy.
Dispute.
And we talked about this before. It's so easy to have your clients be brought up on charges of obstruction of justice or lying. It is so easy because they can be tripped up. It depends on the questions that are being asked. There's lots of ways that can happen. And then your client can be condemned.
He's back in court next week, so we're going to hear from him again. Guaranteed he's going to come out with the big Nixon V thing and speak out to all of us.
Which, by the way, he should stop. He should stop talking. He's not charged.
He should hire us. We'd be like, stop.
Well, you put a gag on him or something. Anyway, all right. And he was 16 years old in 1968 and 20 years old in 1973. But anyway, all right, thank you.